Clancy, thank you. This morning, we are remembering the life and legacy of former First Lady Barbara Bush. She passed away yesterday at the age of 92. Bush leaves behind her husband of 73 years, 5 children, and 17 grandchildren. Joining me this morning is Dr. Mark Caleb Smith. He's the Director of Political Studies at Cedarville University. He joins me live from the Cedarville University newsroom this morning to talk about the legacy of this incredible woman. And Dr. Smith, what do you think Americans will remember most about the First Lady?
Well, she's an interesting figure because even though she represented a family of significant wealth, both on her side of the family and her husband's side of the family, she was always perceived as someone who was very warm, who's very down to earth, who's very accessible. And so in that sense, I think she was able to appeal to a wide range of people, Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal. That's really unusual in modern American politics, and I think that will be one of her longest lasting legacies.
You kind of mentioned some of the things that set her apart, but what are some other things that have set her apart from other First Ladies? She's had some really great programs while she was in office.
Yeah, she's most known for championing the idea of literacy. She was significantly involved with a variety of charities about literacy. She started her own foundation. As First Lady, as most First Ladies do, they pick sort of this one policy focus or charitable area that they excel in. Literacy was hers, and in that process she wrote 2 books. Both of them were from the perspective of a family dog. They went on to become bestsellers, and so I think literacy is where she's going to have a long-lasting impact in terms of policy.
She was she was not kind of an interesting woman. She was an incredibly interesting woman. Just reading some of the stuff that people have wrote about her, she was a straight shooter. Do you think that that sort of gives her a little bit of an edge? Do you think that people appreciated that about her?
Yeah, and in the world of politics, it isn't always people who speak plainly and clearly that get ahead. But as a First Lady, she was willing to speak her mind. There were sort of always kinds of rumblings that she had disagreements with her husband over particular sorts of issues. Sometimes those leaked into the public, sometimes they didn't. But generally appreciate a straight shooter. Now, Mrs. Bush did not support Donald Trump. She obviously supported her own son. But I think she has that in common with the current president. They both tend to speak their mind.
And you talk about her family as the nation mourns her death this morning. How do you think the Bush family is dealing with this loss?
Well, I'm sure it's devastating for the entire family, and on the one hand. On the other, she's had significant health issues for quite some time. We heard over the weekend that she was moving away from sort of restorative care and moving more toward comfort and pain management. And so at that point, I think it was fairly well evident that she was going to die soon. So it wasn't a shock to the family, I'm sure, but it is always difficult to get over this sort of loss.
Dr. Mark Caleb Smith, thank you so much for joining us this morning live from the Cedarville newsroom. We really appreciate your insight on the life and legacy of Barbara Bush. Thank you so much. Well, a private visitation will be held in Houston today and Thursday, and then Friday, Mrs. Bush will lie in repose from noon until midnight for the public to say goodbye at George Lewis Funeral Home in Houston. Private funeral services will be held at St. Martin's Church there on Saturday.